go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, April 29th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market. We take a peek over there at the United States stock market, which is set to open up here in the next 1 minute, along with precious metals like gold and the US dollar currency index, or the DXY, which has had some volatility this morning. We, of course, will take a peek over there at any type of financial news to kick off our day and any type of crypto news to start off the day. Hope you guys are having a good start to your week and you had a nice weekend. It'll be a short week for me over here on the YouTube channel. It'll just be today and tomorrow, and then I'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. I see Nagy Day saying the pain is real, the slow bleed. I think I had tweeted about this. I don't remember what day I tweeted about it, but it said that sentiment is going to get destroyed here. They'll strip the dopamine, right? And that's what's happened in here, but things are looking okay. I've actually already recorded a whole YouTube video. It's about 20 minutes long. It'll be released shortly after Markets in the Morning is done, within an hour after Markets in the Morning is complete. Tomorrow, I'm pretty excited because tomorrow we're going to have the next newsletter released in there. It's a collaboration with TXMC. We've been working on this one for weeks. Going through all the different sectors of the crypto market to see which sectors have been hot and which coins are in those sectors and comparing them versus the whole market. That's an exciting one that will be released tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, please check it out. blockchainbacker.substack.com. You get access to all the past ones. And of course, the one that will be released tomorrow. That one's a doozy. That's been a fun one to do. But as for crypto, of course, we've just been kind of stuck right here throughout the weekend. Pretty uneventful weekend. Had a pop and drop. And really, it's just kind of the things that we've been looking for here for Bitcoin, for it to just kind of continue waddling along in here. So nothing really has changed. If you're wondering why this dotted line is here and this dotted line is here, this is the correction before the final rally for Bitcoin back in 2021. This is also where the altcoin market hit its retracement level. This one right here, back here in 2024, story was the exact same, where the altcoin market goes up and hits its retracement level right there as Bitcoin does the exact same thing. So in today's video, we're going to have showing on-chain metrics. We're going to show all kinds of stuff to show the similarities, again, that it seems that Bitcoin and the crypto market is actually much further along than people think. The idea of a 4-year cycle continuing from here and there's still being another year and a half left, or the idea that the block reward halving signals that we still have another year and a half left. That's not what everything shows us. It shows us that we're actually, if the top isn't already in, right, that there's really 3 to 4 months left. And if at least based on what happened in 2021 and what happened in 2017, there was only 3 to 4 months left of the market, but it was those time periods of 2017 and 2021 were the most exciting times. At least that's what our on-chain signatures are showing us. And so we're gonna talk about that into today's video. So things still just continue to creep on over here for Bitcoin. The altcoin market doing really as expected in here. It's got that little drop happening in here. So now we're looking for some support to start to show up in here and hopefully get the most exciting time that we all wait for as we go through bearish periods for so long. We wait for that really exciting moment to show up. So now we're looking to make sure we can find some supports happening in here and for these levels to actually end up holding as we're now down in here. So we are there. We're there, man. Looking over there at XRP. XRP still continues to hold, looking stronger than some. Some assets have looked weaker than others. Things like Aptos and things like Arbitrum have looked a little weaker than other things. Like XRP still holding up in here. Ethereum's been holding up nicely as well. But there's been a couple of them that have shown some weakness in there compared to the rest. But otherwise, things are looking really just fine in here. Ethereum, again, had that pop to go above that high that was set back there on Wednesday. Now back in here. Now we're looking for supports to actually show up in here for Ethereum. This would be actually an ideal place for support to show up for Ethereum right now. So things are okay. Things are still continuing to drift. Again, I think this is just all accumulation that's happening in here. Big warning signs that would show up in the market would be if there was actually a breakdown here below those lows that were set back there on Thursday, April 18th. So, or was that Friday? It's Friday. So I'm trying to think what was the narrative that was happening then. Is it this one? Right in the middle of the night, there was the, international war stuff happening in there, and that's what that fears. So not taking out those lows right in there is really the ideal place to say things are still completely fine. Pulling back in here is what we should, what we should have, but not going any lower than that, those levels there. So otherwise, crypto is still just humming along just fine, and I think it's an accumulation. So there we go. Things are looking fine. The things we can look forward to, we can look over here to the United States stock market. So the stock market is actually up today. Usually I talk about that in the intro. Tesla's having a big day, I think, today. Tesla's up 11% today. Let's go ahead and sort those. All right, Tesla up 11%, Apple almost 3%, ARK 2.5%, Amazon's up over 1%, Roblox and GE Aerospace up over 1%. Losers this morning are Coinbase, Google, and Meta. Yields down. Indexes all up. You got the NASDAQ up 91 points. You got the S&P up 21 points, the Dow up 115, and the R2Y up 13. So up about 0.5% for most index and 0.25% over there for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You do have gold slightly down and silver slightly down to flat, so down 0.05%, while you do have copper up and you do have platinum up this morning. The DXY has been a little bit of a washing machine over here with the Bank of Japan. The yen has been all over the place this morning, getting as high as, was it 161 or something like that? Everybody over there on Twitter screaming about what's happening over there. And then boom, it just fully pulled back. And then now it looks like everything's starting to settle once again. So we just kind of keep playing around that historical danger level over there for the United States dollar currency index, right back and forth like a washing machine in there. But still waiting on it at this point. So gold, I think the most optimistic thing has just been that gold has been chilling out in here. We've talked all about this before. When you look at any type of bear moves happening in crypto or in equity markets, whatnot, or expansions that end up happening in crypto, they occur during periods where gold is getting hammered. This whole breakout in here, of course, fired off the warning signals and alarm signals for me there in March and the earlier half of April. Things have been chilling out there for gold. So hopefully that thing starts to pull back a little bit in there. That is what happened back in 2020 and 2021 and during 2017 and during 2013's bull runs, is that we had gold ending up falling. So gold has still just been just hovering there after those extreme highs that were set there just a couple of weeks ago. Otherwise, that's really all that's going on in markets today. We're still just kind of drifting in here. Not a lot happening over there in the stock market right now. We have the Fed meeting coming up on Wednesday, where the Fed's going to announce their interest rate decision. It's anticipated with a 97% probability that the Fed will remain paused at that meeting. Only a 2.7% probability that it will cut. For the last 2 years, whatever this number is or whatever this thing is leaning on, by the time we get to the Fed meeting, that has been what the decision ends up being for the Fed. So having the expectations of that, when we've had rate cuts happen in the past, they typically don't happen during an actual meeting. They tend to happen during some... Everything is fine. We're going to do an emergency rate cut, but we're only doing it because everything is fine. It's typically how it ends up happening in there. So I've talked about this a little bit last week, that if you used your example of what happened before the great financial crisis, really we did exactly this before the great financial crisis, and the market did something like this. And then it popped up, and then that was it. And then we went into the great financial crisis. This is how things played out. We were also in a pause period as well, where the federal funds rate was, we had gone through a hiking cycle, and we were paused. Really going to look right back over here, right? So you can see this is how it was, right? And then, we ended up having this dip, and this is right here in the middle of August, where the Fed comes out and does their emergency rate cut, right? So we have the breakout into the high, everything happens, and then the bigger fall comes in, right? And then it bounces, and it's kind of like that's where we're at right now, like in that bounce. Then a bigger flush ended up coming out into the United States stock market, and this is where the Fed does the emergency rate cut. So they actually had a meeting 1 week prior to their rate cut, in which they kept the interest rates paused. The cut didn't actually come to 1 week later, not in the middle of a meeting. It was really in an event kind of like that. I'm not saying, like, obviously I don't have anything in here indicating to me that they're going to end up doing that. But if you're wanting to say, hey, how did it play out that time? That's how it ended up playing out. It wasn't during a meeting. They were paused during the meeting. It was a week after the meeting, and they came out and were like, oh, hey, we had to do something. And then in 2020, something showed up in the overnight lending market, where, you know, not the reverse repo, but just the repo lending market. They, you know, banks weren't lending each other money. Something showed up. They had to intervene in there. They were doing cuts, all here in September, and they were calling it not QE. They were like, it's nothing. And so, you know, just kind of keeping it in mind of how it's gone in the past. I know this big narrative has come out that they're going to do these bullish cuts because it's just meme culture. It's crypto meme culture to be like, you know, if they're cutting, that means that everything is great and dandy and super wonderful. It's not typically the case. It's typically after they've already cut, after markets have collapsed and credit conditions are completely loosey-goosey. That's when things have been positive, but not during the cuts. So we're still in that environment, just kind of waiting to see how that's going to end up going. But you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, and we're gonna look at the other side of the coin, look at it from like an on-chain perspective and a price structure perspective. That, you know, I think we're just way further in this market cycle than people anticipate. Thinking that there's probably a year and a half to 2 years, or people thinking there's a year and a half left in this thing. That I think we'll be lucky to get if there's 4 months. I think we'll be lucky if there's 4 months, but hopefully it's the most exciting 4 months that we could ask for in here to end up getting. So I don't know where I'm going with that with rates, but just in the end, it's expected that they're going to be paused. Typically, we do live stream them. Ironically, I was in Australia for the last one, so we weren't able to live stream it, and then I'll be out, and we won't be able to live stream this one either. So we will be able to resume them during the June 12th meeting. So Wednesday, June 12th, be here as we watch Jerome Powell deliver his remarks. So either way, I think the things people are looking for when it comes to this meeting, just give you kind of a heads up. It's, you know, employment and, of course, inflation and how the Fed feels about inflation and the numbers that are being printed. Like we've talked about, it seems like the Fed has pretty much backed themselves into a checkmate corner at this point. A lot of businesses are relying on being able to refinance, especially a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. They can't do it at this point, and they're strapped for interest rates to be able to come down. They're all just barely staying afloat, and I think we actually see that when we look at like things like the RTY, the Russell 2000, showing those mid-cap stuff. I was reading an article yesterday about just small businesses, like not even mid-cap stuff, like just small businesses, which account for about 60 million jobs in the United States, how they're all just like 40% of them or something not making their rent payments on time or something crazy. It's like, what? So businesses just kind of being strapped at this point, needing those rate cuts. So either way, that'll be on Wednesday. Unfortunately, we'll miss it, so we'll just have to be kind of watching it over there on Twitter. But otherwise, things humming along over here in crypto, humming along over here. Nothing changed really throughout the weekend, throughout the whole market. Now the big thing is just seeing how the stock market's got one more flush to happen in here. So we'll just keep kind of chilling on it with the DXY at 105, gold at 23.26. Nice to see this coming down, and that's really what we got going on. So the ranging continues, but keep an eye on today's video. If you're feeling like the person earlier who said the pain is real. It's not really even pain. It's a dopamine strip that ended up happening, which we talked about, right? One thing we always talked about is once we get back here, you'd see extreme risk taking, irrational exuberance, and expectations that we just kind of keep going at that velocity, and then the easy money stops. And you know, there was somebody who tweeted something the other day. I showed it to TXMC. He ended up retweeting it. Let me go find it because it's true. And it was something I had to think about pretty in depth on why you know, I spent March and April really just kind of being like worried, right? Stressed with us being back here and just, really posting, not being that bullish blockchain backer that people want, right? Which now it's converting, right? Now we're going back to saying, hey, can we find some supports here? Can we get this thing going? Like we're all back to normal now, trying to find that. As long as this thing doesn't break. As long as this doesn't break, we're trying to find this. We're trying to be back to that. But up in here, we're all scared, right? And why people didn't like that, right? And it had to be put into this perspective for me, to understand that. And it's a weird position. I know you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? I'm going to put it on the screen here. This write-up this guy did. Right here. So I'll just read that to you real quick. I thought this was really good. And why people wanted to portray me as the enemy. And I get it. I get it when I read this. Let's just read it. It's funny how the timeline feels more upset when we fail to break out compared to an actual bear market, despite every coin being materially higher than it was a year ago. I'll tell you why, though. Pretty much everyone speculating in crypto is in it for one reason: money. And there's no other asset class that offers such exponential returns such that you can literally change your entire life. The thing is, the point we're at now, lots of people are up big, but maybe not big enough. Everyone probably has some ambition to change their life from a monetary angle. Quit your day job, buy a house, help family, buy an expensive car, or whatever it is. I'd say being able to quit your job is the most meaningful one that resonates with people the most. So the thing is, in a bear market, that dream feels far away, and you're like, whatever. But in this market, that dream gets monumentally closer, and you're perhaps just a 2 to 3x away from it now, maybe more. And you just desperately want it to get there, because if it crumbles now, you got to wait a whole nother cycle to be able to take that shot again. So yeah, it's easy to say things like people are dumb for being upset now when Bitcoin is above 60K after it was below 30K for a whole year. But that's not really the point, is it? The point is you're so close to breaking into a certain level of financial freedom target that you set for yourself that you don't want that dream to come to an end. And, I think when we talk about these things, that's what really happens. And that's why you get painted as the bad guy, because people are thinking I'm really close, right? Like the dream is so close. All it takes is one big moonshot and I'm really close. And you're the jerk saying it's not going to happen. And I never really thought of it in that way. Whenever you talk about it, like it has to be talked about. There's no way not to do it. But it has, made me think in different terms on maybe the way I'm communicating it. And I'm not sure how to do that differently. But it was a good thought. And that's the mentality people are going through. You can taste it, right? Like you can taste where it is. And then if you're not, and then it just feels like someone's stripping it away from you. So I don't know. I thought that was deep, and I'm not sure why I'm sharing it with you. It was something I read over the weekend, and I was like, oh, that's how people were feeling. That's what was going on in their heads. And yeah. Okay. I don't know. Just thought I'd share that. If you were like, I don't know why I'm sharing it, but I am. There you go. All right. So there you go. Bitcoin just under $62,000 as we kick off Monday morning. Stock market still up slightly over here, up about 0.5% on the RTY. Nasdaq back to almost even. S&P still up about 1/4, and the Dow is up 1/4 in there. Tesla's leading the way there with up 12%, along with Apple and ARK. And then you got Coinbase, Google, and Meta all down this morning. Let's head on over to the news now after I've rambled for 20 minutes and then just write you guys a tweet. All right, stock market. There you go. Tesla jumps 12% in pre-market trading after passing key hurdle to roll out full self-driving in China. Musk makes surprise visit to Beijing as Tesla's China-made cars pass data security rules. Stock futures climb following S&P 500's best week since November. Sherry Redstone is playing M&A war games with removal of Paramount CEO Bob Bakish. Okay, Amazon says more packages are arriving in a day or less after hefty investment in speedy fulfillment. Here are Monday's biggest analyst calls. Oracle boosts its generative AI capabilities as cloud competition heats up, with Philips shares rocket 46% as firm settles U.S. respiratory device case. All right, on to crypto. Nothing big going on in financial news outside of the Bank of Japan and the yen going all kinds of wacky wildness, and then Tesla is doing well. Bitcoin and Ethereum nurse losses as U.S. stagflation fears grip the market. The crypto market is balancing the threat of stagflation against a potential liquidity injection from the Treasury General account and the launch of Hong Kong's Bitcoin. Huh. All right. We love narratives, don't we? Okay. Here's how EU nations are preparing to enforce MiCA. All right. Crypto banking firm BCB Group secures digital asset and electronic money license in France. CZ sentencing letters paint former Binance CEO as devoted family man and friend. Bitcoin trades at slight premium in yen terms amid suspected BOJ intervention. I think everybody's saying the Bank of Japan intervened, but the hard reality is when you see everybody tweeting about something, what typically ends up being to happen, ends up happening. It marks the top, and we got to the top of a range. We're just up here in ranging area. Like this is the highest levels, right? I mean, it could totally have resistance right there. Intervention. We all logged it at the same time. Manipulation. Maybe you longed the frickin' top. How about that? I mean, we all need narratives. Everybody suspects the Bank of Japan intervened, or it was just extremely overheated, one way or the other. Okay. All right, calm down, BCB. All right. Cointelegraph, here we go. OpenAI hit with privacy complaint in Austria with potential EU law breach. Worst month since 2022 bear market. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. Woman accused of $6 billion scam. China loophole for Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs. Asia Express. Crypto trader sees best alt season since 2017 as Bitcoin price cools. DOJ's Tornado Cash argument shows obvious disdain for privacy. Come on, privacy. Come on, crypto people. What is wrong with all of you? Why do you not want privacy? Why are you not cool with it? I don't get it. You guys are crazy. All right, crypto trader sees best alts. Oh, wait, you just did that one. Okay, since 2017. Okay. Solo Bitcoin miner wins the 3.125 Bitcoin lottery, solving a valid. Oh, a solo Bitcoin miner wins the 3.125 Bitcoin lottery, solving valid block. Rather than being a part of a pool, one dude in his closet. We got it. DOJ's Tornado Cash argument show obvious disdain for privacy. You guys have the same stories here in your hot stories as your editor's choice. All right. Sam Altman's OpenAI reportedly in partnership talks with his other firm, WorldCoin. There you have it. No news. Making up stories for Bitcoin's price action. And it is what it is. It is what it is. But there you have it. Come on. Come on. There we go. I don't know why that moved. There you go. All right. So there you go. We just kind of continue humming on along here as we get our week kicked off. Now we're starting to look for supports to try to start coming in here and for things to start settling down and a little bit of a reversal in here. The most optimistic thing would just be to see things eventually roll their way up. Let's go take out that high and then we'll probably settle back down. But that would be our first good sign to see things happening in here. Again, no breaks of that low down there on Friday, April 19th. This would be the most ideal thing. And I'm optimistic that we'll get it. So we're still just in the waiting thing, but looking for the first sign. If we get that first sign, man, oh man, Brad Garlinghouse, can you be right, sir? $5 trillion this year. Let's go. Okay. Anything else to cover in here? I think we've got it all. Bitcoin's still just settling on along. Looking for supports to come in here for the altcoin market. This looking fine. Looking fine. Obviously, you need to get back up. And DXY back below 106 after being over 106 throughout the weekend. Gold at 23.33. No big news out there. Just Tesla volatility over there, and then the yen. And otherwise, we're kicking off our week just kind of plain boring. Oh, it's earnings week, right? So we're going to get a lot of big names in earnings this week. Like Apple and lots of big names. So we've been knee deep in earnings season, but I think the hottest week of earnings is this week. So we'll see pre-market stuff and we'll see post-market stuff all week this week. And I think the biggest days, of course, are going to be like Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So might see some volatility, or some of you might see some of the stuff have big moves, like you see over there in Tesla, and you'll see some things have big drops, and you'll see all that kind of stuff because it is earnings week. So, okay, there you go. There you have it. So again, today we are this week we are just today, and we are just tomorrow here on the channel. There will be a video released about an hour after markets in the morning is done today. And again, the next iteration of the newsletter will be released tomorrow. Excited about this one because that one's going to have a couple of weeks have been spent doing this, going through the different sectors of the market to figure out, we've talked a lot about development activity. We've talked a lot about user activity levels and how those things are important. We've compared that to the past. We've compared that to the top 20 by market cap versus the top 20 by development activity, user activity levels, where total value is getting locked, where NFT activity is happening at, all those different things. We've done a lot of that, right? But then you also have those other aspects of markets where a sector and a narrative can be the thing that is going crazy, right? Meme coins, for example, right? Or AI, right? So we'll have just sectors that end up doing things on their own. So we've gone through the sectors and figured out what has been the performance of each sector and like which ones have been the really hot ones and which ones have those coins in them. So excited to have that released tomorrow. So if you check out the newsletter here on blockchainbacker.substack.com, you get, of course, access to all the past ones and then the one that gets released tomorrow. So, all right, there we go. On that note, that'll conclude the info for this morning. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about except we're just looking to see some supports come in here and not to take out the lows that were set back there on April 19th. Till then, we just keep on humming, waiting for things to turn their way around. Otherwise, I'm hopping into the chat, guys, and then keep your eyes out for an hour after the markets in the morning when the video gets released. But all right, Marco, the XRP Maniac, had gifted a BCB membership before the stream even started. Marco, thank you very much. And then XRP Bullish gifted 5. I saw you guys going wild, like, oh my gosh. So you guys do a good job thanking when that happens. That's cool to see. So XRP Bullish, thank you for gifting 5. And then right after that, follow the Fiat before the stream even started, had gifted 5 as well. You guys were on fire. Thank you very, very, very much. Arm Day. Hey, what's up, BCB? Have you deployed more capital in Ethereum in the past week? Thoughts on its current moves or if it's going to break down from 2,800? No, because I got it all in at the lows. But I may deploy more. But like if I deployed right here, my stop would actually be right there. If on this particular level, here with stop there. So 31.25 with stop at 30.70 for that idea. Because I would think this should hold in the event of that entry. So I'm not afraid to take that trade. I just haven't had time because it's a busy morning. If you don't know this, the end of the month is always incredibly busy for me. So I haven't had time to focus on my own entries right now here in these last couple of days. But yeah, I'd have no problem entering there, stopping there. But no, I haven't made an entry in the last couple of days because my entries did get in down here. XR Priest says, hey, BCB, can you cook me a well-done steak? Well, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat. As for your well-done steak, I'm going to have to politely yet firmly ask you to leave. Denny, poll, $5 trillion market cap in 2024, yes or no? Brad Garlinghouse says yes. We'll end up seeing if that ends up becoming true. Skeleton, yo BCB, would love to learn more about Automatic Market Maker. You down to school us on it? I don't know if I'm like the best to school you on Automatic Market Makers. There are technical guys out there who can school you more on it. We talked about it last week. Right? It's really not that hard to do. You could check out xpmarket.com. They have it on there. Life of Shane says, Happy New Week, BCB. How are your head puts? How are the hedge puts doing? Oh, they're lit up and wrecked. Because market go up. JB Heavy Equipment Services, member for 11 months. Oscar, time to sell your bag so we can moon. Thanks again, BCV, for always being there. And did I say BCV? BCB for always being there and helping us stay on track. Much love. JB, thank you very much, man. 11 months. Yeah, where is Oscar? I haven't seen Oscar in here in a little while. Is he there? You know what he always does? He sits here, he watches, and then he waits to the very last minute of the stream to make himself present. That's what he always ends up doing. So, okay, there we go. We got through the chat pretty quick today, guys. We got quite a few in here. We got 2,400 people in here with 600 likes. If you guys could hit the like button, it is the #1 way to support the channel. I always appreciate it. As for crypto, we're just waiting to see if we're going to end up holding in here, which things seem okay so far. And right on expectations. We talked about last week, whether it would be a minute, a day, or a week. Well, here we are. We're 3 days later. We're kind of drifting into it now, waiting for the supports to start showing up in here. So things look okay. And you'll see what I'm talking about if you watch today's video. So I think it's a good one. And also, I think it just puts into perspective of where we truly are in this market right now. That, you know, this has the potential to be the big grand finale. And if you don't know, that is why you are here. You are here for the big grand finale, which is something like that. And these things only last 3 to 4 months. That's the big grand finale. And the on-chain signatures of the market are very similar to something like that. So it's definitely worth the watch today if you need a little bit of perception. And it's not the halving. It's not. I don't know why I have to fight that so much, but I do. Okay, there you go. All right, guys. I hope you all. We're gonna keep it. Relatively brief. This is cool. We get through it pretty quick, so that way I can release the YouTube video, and then the newsletter is done. I just have to do the audio voice recording on it, so it can be released tomorrow morning, and they give me time to do that, and then we'll get ready for to kick it off tomorrow, and then have a great week. JB Estrada says, "Dang, is it over?" Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully it's not all over. So there you go. All right. There we go. Quick markets in the morning today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be keeping our eyes out for this. And hopefully, when we come back tomorrow, we'll have found some type of support or even a bigger one, at least hopefully before I'm off by Wednesday. Hopefully before I'm off by Wednesday, we at least get something along the lines of something like that. There may still be another little flush that happens in here, but hopefully the recovery gets going before I head out of here on Wednesday. Okay. All right. There we go. That's it. Check out bcbacker.com for 40 plus videos and 11 hours of content. Teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators. Of course, check out over here the newsletter. That's the big one that's being released tomorrow. James Eggenloff says, if XRP only retraces, where does that land us? So it depends on what range you're looking at. So if you're looking at the range since the last rally, right, that lands you somewhere in the $1.30 to $1.60 area. If you're looking at this larger range, it lands you closer to $2.30. A reason why I don't think that is that the market cap actually already did that, right? So that was that, right? So we've shown that on Bitcoin, we've shown that on retraces many times, that crash, retrace, reaccumulation that ends up happening in there. And that we've actually already gotten there based on the market cap. But yeah, if you were just going to retrace this one particular range right in here, what did we say that was? $1.30 to $1.60, something like that. Me Jules Company says, please don't go. Well, it's a real, and here's the thing too, I haven't packed anything. I haven't packed a dang thing. And I haven't run any of my errands too. So it gives me an excuse to get it done. And the fact that I've already got my video done, it's like, yes. Caesar Miranda says, do you think silver has a good future ahead? So I kind of keep it all in perspective too, like with gold and everything like that, and with equity confluences and stuff like that. Will gold likely backtest that area? I would think so. I would think eventually it would, even if it ends up, something like this, and then it eventually comes back and backtest that level. I would think that it would. I think it would end up happening, which means silver would probably pull down with that too. But like, if your question is, like, when I think of does silver have a good future, I think of that. Does it have a full-blown bull run where it goes and takes out its previous all-time high, like from way back in the day? Right? Where are you, silver? Right. The thing that would likely have to happen is one true expansion happening over there for gold. Right. So will it happen prior to a pullback happening in gold or not? Don't know. So like I am in a belief, and I think we all know this, that I am in a belief that the equity markets are not going to go much higher. I think we are reaching the very peak of the equity markets, and that the future of the next decade looks a little bit bleak when it comes to the equity markets. And so, of course, that scares me about crypto at the same time due to those correlations that have happened between there. The thing that we have seen is inverse relationships between gold and between the equity markets when it comes to one being in a bull market and the other one being in a bear market, right? And it's no surprise to see that as gold breaks out, what happens? The equity markets pull back, right? So I have a bias that the equity markets don't have the best looking future ahead of them for the next decade or 5 years, whatever we want to call it. And we do know that there's an inverse relationship between gold and between the equity markets. What we don't know, and what we don't have the historical precedent to know of, is what happened during something like the Great Depression, where the equity markets fell 80%, right? We don't, because gold was a fixed price. It was $20 an ounce, like $20.57 an ounce in the 1920s and 30s, until they seized all the gold and then repriced it to like 36. But if it remained true that during a bear market for equities, gold continued to rampage higher, well, I think silver would rampage along with it. And silver being like the altcoin to gold, right? Gold being Bitcoin, silver being an altcoin. And I think silver would rampage with it. We create all these narratives to say, silver's used in batteries and it's used in electric cars and it's used in all these, all this manufacturing and stuff. And I get that. But I still think it's kind of the same play. I think, one is literal gold and the other one's kind of like an altcoin a little bit. And, a small piece of gold is incredibly expensive. And for a lot of people, just holding pieces of silver is a whole lot easier. And I get both. I have both. And, due to my bias of the equity markets topping within the next year, I have a bias that the inverse relationship of gold will take place and the inverse relationship of gold will pull silver along with it. So I'm bullish on silver long term. So do I think it has a good future? Based on historical performance of an inverse relationship between gold and equity markets and the correlated relationship between expansions in gold and silver tagging along, yes, I do think so. XP market member for 13 months, says, hey, BCB, in these times when the market feels like a tough puzzle, your insights are the places that help us see the bigger picture. Here's to the bulls making a swift return. Thanks so much, 702 crew. Yeah, love. Thank you very much, XP market. Right, and that's the thing to think about right now is the differences in this market that we have right now. We have a lot of similarities, right? So like when it comes to price action, when it comes to the altcoin market behavior, when it comes to on-chain activity, we actually do have a lot of things that are very similar to the past. But the things that are very similar would indicate we're significantly further along in the cycle than people think. That it's like we're right here, right? That it's like we're this far into the cycle at this point, where we're already here and we're super deep into this thing already. That's the things that are flashing right now. The things that are very different is obviously the price isn't that high, right? So like when this signal flashed for Bitcoin in 2017, the price of Bitcoin was already like 3 to 4 times its previous all-time high. When this signal flashed in 2021, the price of Bitcoin was 2 times its previous all-time high. Now this signal is flashing and we're at the previous all-time high. And so what's happening is a lot of people are drawing from the past when it comes to here's what happened each time Bitcoin got back to its all-time high. But the problem is we are acting like we're way past it. The on-chain metrics, the technical indicators are like we're so much further past the all-time high, even though we're only at the all-time high. And then, you mix in all those other elements that happen out there when you see those true expansions of markets happening where the RTY or the Russell and the Dow Jones are going together and Bitcoin goes at the same time and how all those things aren't the same, right? So we have these like mixed, like there are things that are similar, but things that are very different. And we're having to really navigate this without being able to make these extremely simple comparisons right now. Like if the stock market, if the Dow Jones wasn't at its 4.236 extension, and if the NASDAQ wasn't at its 4.236 extension, and if the Russell 2000 was breaking out with those equity indexes, we would just be sitting here saying, hey, look, this is just like 2013, 2017, and 2021. But the problem is all of them are different. They're all different. Whereas during the last 3 cycles, all of them were the same. But this time it's not. And so what do we always do? We draw on the narrative. We say, what is the narrative? Well, we just got through the halving, right? Oh, Bitcoin ETFs, right? But every time, at every peak, because I've been through a couple of them already, there's always a narrative. There's always a reason. There's always a justification. There's always something. And we just are having to be a little more creative than sitting here saying, here's what happens when you have a year and a half left after the halving, or here's what happens when we get back to the all-time high. That is the easiest comparisons we can all make. Anybody and their grandma can do it. But we have to dig deeper because it's not like that. And that's what I'm trying to show here on the channel is that things are not like that. And especially not when you have an elevated Fed funds rate. Like it's different. So we're having to navigate it to the best of our abilities that we can. But fortunately, there are some things to be, there are some things to have an optimistic look for, but to keep it in mind that, even if those things are true and there is an optimistic time ahead and there is a euphoria time ahead, okay? Each time we were like this, and if Bitcoin does go up, right, and if the altcoin market does go up, right, that you'll have to kind of reflect back on a minute ago of what you were feeling like in March and April and how euphoric you maybe were and how you thought there was no chance we were going to pull down. And to remember, you'll feel like that again. That feeling will return. And then every piece of content out there will be tailored towards telling you we're going up forever. But what this does say is each time this has happened, we only had, in these examples, we only had 3 months left for Bitcoin and we only had 4 months left for the altcoin market. So that's kind of how we're navigating it right now, barring that we don't get some breakdown here and then we have to start saying, wait a minute, now we're looking like this is 2019. Now we're looking like trash. But barring that we're able to hold, drift, go for it, it would be the next 3 to 4 months would be incredibly exciting, but that's all we got. Then it's over. Game over, lights out, done. And to remember, everybody will be telling you that's not true. Everybody will be telling you it's going to keep going, right? So just kind of keeping all of that in mind. And yeah. And to not have unrealistic expectations. And like when I read at the beginning of this thing, I had shared that tweet. This one. That probably everybody probably has some ambition to change their life from a monetary angle, to quit your day job, buy a house, help family, buy an expensive car, whatever it is. It's saying being able to quit your day job is the most meaningful one that resonates with people the most. That is why there's so much content built around be financially free, right? If you don't realize that, it is a massive business online to sell you the idea of financial freedom. Right? It's because it's a huge market because it resonates with people the most. It's what they want the absolute most. And so when you hear things like Fed buyback or price going to $10,000 per XRP or $1,000 or 500, depending on your bag size, it resonates into you to feel financial freedom or it's going to go crazy and that this is going to change everything that my life ever, that it's going to I'm finally going to be happy, right? And sometimes these expectations are just way out of line. And that there's very real reality that we get to wherever we get to. And whatever expectations you have set in your head on the 400 XRP that you have that we're going to be bought back by the Fed for $10,000 each and we're going to get $4 million, that won't happen, right? And so to just keep the expectations a little bit more muffled, and that, when we get there, whatever it will be. And hopefully we do get there, right? And hopefully these things pan out. And hopefully Bragg Arlinghouse is right. We're going to 5 trillion. And hopefully these on-chain signals and these price signals are all right. And we have a good time. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. That's what you get. All right, Elon. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Mark Twain. Very good. Very good stuff. Always important, and even a reminder for myself to try to remain humble. Right? All right. Well, there we go. That'll be it, guys. Keep your eyes out. I'll have a video released here within the next hour. I hope that you all have a fantastic day. Keep your eyes out tomorrow morning. Should be tomorrow morning for the next newsletter iteration to be released, comparing the sectors of the crypto market. And I hope that you all have a great day. But that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. Michael says, now go pack. Yeah. I think I need to do laundry first. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.